The ears for the bunny, you'll need to make 2. And for the ears of the bunny, you'll need 2 colors if you want to have the accent color on the inside part of the ears. So if you wanted to do it like I did, you could just make them all one color, but I like the way it looks like this. I think it looks cute to match it to the nose, or you can make it any color you want. So the main color is going to be the purple, and then I'm going to use this pink to make the inner part of the ear for the accent color. So this color here, this is Red Heart Super Saver yarn, and this color here is called Perfect Pink. So to make the ears, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 ears with the purple color, just like the same color I used for the head of the bunny. So the main color, 2 of them with that. And then you make 2 more exactly the same with the accent color. So I'm going to make 2 more ears with the pink. So basically you're making 4 identical ears. So you need to repeat it 4 times to make 4 parts for the ears, because you need 2 of the main color and 2 of the accent color. Now if you want to make it all one color and you don't want an accent color, then you make them 4 all the same. And then you'll take 1 of the ears from the purple main color and 1 from the pink, and then you put them together and then do some single crochets around, and that's how it looks like this. So even though it sounds odd at first that you're making them the same exact size, but when you connect them, then you'll have this edging. Let me show you how to make the ears. Okay, so I'm going to make 2 of the ears with purple. I'm going to use the same size crochet hook, the 3mm crochet hook. Okay, so to make the ear, I'm going to start with a slip knot, and then I will chain 12 chains. Okay, so I have 12 chains now, and then I will skip the chain closest to the hook, and then I will begin my first stitch in the second chain from the hook, and I will do a single crochet. And then I will single crochet in the next 3 chains. So 1 single crochet into the next 3 chains. Okay, so the first 4 stitches of row 1, 1 single crochet each. Because we started in the second chain, we did a single crochet and then a single crochet in the next 3. So you should have 4 single crochets now. And then I will work 1/2 double crochet into the next 4 chains. In case there are any beginners to crocheting, I am going to show you how to do a 1/2 double crochet. So what you do is you yarn over, then insert your hook into the stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook into this chain here, yarn over and pull up a loop. You will then have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and then pull through all 3 loops, and that is how you do a 1/2 double crochet. So that's the first one. So the next 3 chains will also have a 1/2 double crochet. Okay, so those last 4 stitches I did a 1/2 double crochet each, and then you'll see you have 3 chains left. So into the next 2 chains I will work 1 double crochet into each of those chains. So I'll do a double crochet into that chain, and then a double crochet into the next one. Okay, so just to recap, the first 4 chains, 1 single crochet each, then a 1/2 double crochet into the next 4 chains, and then 1 double crochet into the next 2 chains. Then you'll have 1 chain left here. So into this chain here, you will work 6 double crochets all into this last chain here. So it has 6 stitches total. 6 double crochets all into this top chain here, because this is going to be at the top of the ear. Okay, that's the third one. 4, 5, and 6. So now I have 6 double crochets into that stitch. So you can see we are at the top here, and then we're going to churn and work along the bottom part of the chain. So this is the bottom part of the chain. So we're going to do that kind of like if you were working like baby booties. Oftentimes you work on the back part of the chain. So into this next stitch right here, you're going to work 1 double crochet. So the next 2 stitches will have 1 double crochet each, just like we did over here. So you find your next stitch and you do a double crochet. Now I'm not crocheting over this tail, and I'll show you why. You want to keep this out. We're going to need that, and I'll show you why when we finish. And then double crochet into the next stitch. So I did the 6 double crochets and then 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. In those double crochets, you should make sure that they line up with the double crochets on the other side of the chain. And the reason why is sometimes when you work on the bottom part of the chain, sometimes it can be tricky to tell where to insert your hook if you're a beginner to crocheting. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that if they should be in line with the other double crochets. If not, and if it's over here, then you know you missed one of those stitches. So I just wanted to mention that for any beginners to be able to tell if you skipped one by mistake. And then we're going to do the same thing we did over here. We're going to work 1 half double crochet into the next 4 stitches. Okay, so I just worked 1 half double crochet into 4 stitches. So you can look again and make sure that those half double crochets are lined up with the half double crochets on the other side. If not, and you see the half double crochet over here on top of one of the single crochets, then you know that you may have missed one of these stitches. Okay, so then you should have 4 more stitches to work, and then you will work 1 single crochet in the last 4 stitches. Okay, here's the third one, and then there's one more, and here's the 4th one. And that completes the first ear. Then I need to make a second purple one exactly the same way, or whatever color you're using for your main color, you'd make 2 of them. Then I'm going to use this pink as the inside part of the ear for the accent color. So I will make 2 more ears exactly the same way I just showed you here with the pink. So you need a total of 4 of these ears. They're all made exactly the same. Okay, and then we're ready to fasten off, because we don't need this tail to sew it onto the bunny's head, because when we make the pink one, you'll put the pink one on top of this one, kind of sandwich them together basically, and then we'll do another round in the purple yarn connecting the 2 together. And then once we finish that round, when we sandwich them together, when you fasten off, you'll need to leave a good sized tail to use that tail to sew it onto the bunny. So we're not using this one to sew it onto the bunny, in other words. So we can cut that one a little shorter. Not too short. I mean, you still want to leave a good amount to be able to weave it in, because if you cut it too close, it can, you know, work itself loose or unravel. So you never want to cut the tail too close to the end of your work, because you want to make sure you have a good amount. That way you can weave it in, and that way it has a better chance of not unraveling or coming loose. So now I'm going to go ahead and just yarn over with that tail and pull that through to fasten off. So that's one ear complete. Now I'm going to show you why I didn't work over this tail when I worked along the back bottom part of the chain. Because you can see when you work 6 double crochets into a stitch, it leaves a little bit of a hole. So this tail, we can use this to close that hole up a little bit. So I want to mention here, so when you put this ear on the bunny, the wrong side is actually going to be what's on the outside. So for this purple one, you're going to want to weave it on this side. So I'm going to bring this tail to the other side of the work, which is technically the right side, but that will be the side that we want to do it on, because the wrong side is going to be the outer part of the ear, just like it is on here. So I'm going to bring this to the front of the work with my darning needle. And then I will weave this tail in. And when I weave it in, I will weave it from this side over to the other side, overlapping the hole basically. And then from this side over to the other side, overlapping the hole again. And see how it closes up that hole? Okay, so then I'm just going to continue weaving them in. But that's typical. When you put like 6 stitches into a stitch, you're going to end up with a little bit of a hole. But that's why I didn't crochet over it, because I was able to close that up. It's kind of like when you make baby booties. You've probably seen it before where you work on the other side of it. There's always a little bit of a hole in the baby booty. And I always like to close those up with the yarn tails. Okay, so you can see how that looks really nice now. So I'm just going to continue weaving this in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this now that I have that woven in. And I'll weave this one in as well, real quick. Because we don't need these tails to sew onto the bunny. We're going to be basically sandwiching 2 pieces together, one from the purple and one from the pink, and then we'll do a round of stitches, and then when you're done with that round, you'll leave a long tail to sew it onto the bunny. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and weave this in. And when you weave in your tails, it's always good to go one direction and then another direction, the opposite direction, and that helps ensure that things don't come loose or unravel on you as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the camera on pause while I make another one of these ears in purple and 2 more with the color pink. Okay, so while I had the camera on pause, I went ahead and worked up a second purple ear, and then I made 2 with the color pink. And I'm going to show you here, when I showed you to weave in the tail to close up the hole for the purple ones, which is the outer part of the ear, the wrong side is the one that's going to be facing out. So that's why when I wove that tail in to close up the hole, that's why when I used the tail to close up the hole where I did the 6 double crochets, I did it on the right side of the work, because you can see the wrong side is going to be facing this way. So you don't want to weave it on the side that's going to show. It's going to be better to weave it on the opposite side. So then on the pink ones, I wanted to mention that we're going to see the right side for the inner part. So when you use the tail to close up the hole where the 6 double crochets are, if you want to use it to close it up, but if it doesn't look like there's a hole or a gap, then then you wouldn't have to do that. So when you do use the tail to close up the hole though, but if you want to use the tail to close up the hole where the 6 double crochets are, you want to weave it in on the back side for the inner part of the ear, because the right side is going to be the one that's showing out here. So that's why I just want to mention that there's a slight difference. When you weave this one in, you do it on the wrong side, and when you weave this one, you do it on the right side. That way it won't show So I just wanted to mention that there is a slight difference. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick with one of these here. I'll show you what I mean. The same thing again. So I have a little bit of a hole here, so I am going to use this tail to weave it in and close up that little hole there where I did the 6 double crochets. But this time I will not have to bring it to the front, because I am going to weave it along the back side, because the front of the work is going to show this time for the inner part for the pink. So you can see I'm going to try to close up that hole by starting here on this side and then overlap to the other side to weave it in. So I'm overlapping the hole basically from one side to the other when I weave it in. So then I'll do that again a couple more times until I'm happy with the way the hole looks, closing it up. So then that looks good there. And then I'm going to turn it over to look at the other side to make sure it looks the way I want. Okay, so that looks good to me. So I am going to go ahead and continue weaving that in on the back side, on the wrong side this time, still. Okay, and then I'm going to go back the other way. It's always good to go in 2 different directions when you weave your tails in, when possible. And then I'll just go ahead and weave in these tails real quick. Okay, so now I have all the tails woven in, so I have my 4 ears now, so I'm ready to assemble and put them together. Okay, so you can see, here's the inner part of the ear. So we need the right sides facing out and the wrong sides facing out this way. So let me go ahead and show you how I'm going to do that. So I need some more purple yarn, because I'm going to use the main color, the first color, the purple yarn, to work stitches around to sandwich these 2 pieces together. So I'm going to take one of the purple ones, the right side of the work is facing up, and then I'm going to take one of the pink ones and put it right on top. So both right sides are up. So I'm going to put it right here. So the back wrong side of the pink will be facing the right side of the purple, in other words. So now I'm going to take the main color yarn and make a little slip knot here so I can do a join to the stitches. So here I'm going to take here and look at the first stitch and insert the hook through both loops of the pink one and find the first stitch of the purple and insert my hook underneath both the front and back loop of that one. So essentially I have my hook inserted underneath all 4 loops, 2 from the pink, 2 from the purple. And then with the working yarn I will pull a loop through. Now I will yarn over and do a single crochet. So that's the first one. Then I find the next stitch on the pink one, insert my hook underneath both loops, and then find the next stitch of the purple one, insert my hook underneath both, and then you just yarn over with the working yarn, pull that through, and then finish my single crochet. So basically I'm just working through all the loops and doing single crochets to sandwich the 2 pieces together. So I'm going to continue to do that. So the first 2 single crochet, And then the third one, same thing, single crochet, and do that again with the next stitch from the pink and the next one from the purple. Do a single crochet, and then do the same thing again. Find your next two, and then the same thing, find your stitch on the pink one, the next stitch on the purple, insert your hook in there. And then find your next stitch on the purple one, and then yarn over, pull that through, and then yarn over and do a single crochet. So you just keep doing that. So I'm just going to continue working single crochets till I get near the top, and then we'll need to do some increases. Okay, so you can see here the first 12 stitches, one single crochet each, working through all 4 loops to connect the 2 pieces together. Okay, so the first 12 stitches had one single crochet each. Now at the top here, we will need to do 2 increases. So this next stitch will have an increase. That means I'll work 2 stitches into the same stitch, and then the next stitch will also be an increase. And then the last 12 stitches will have one single crochet each. So at the very top, 2 of the stitches will have an increase. So if you look at it, the 2 increases, this was where we did the 6 double crochets. So the 2 double crochets in the very top center, that's where the increases will be done. So if you look at the top of the work where the 6 double crochets were all done into the same chain, at the very top, the first 2 stitches of those 6 double crochets have one single crochet. Then the 2 double crochets in the middle of those 6 double crochets, that's where the increases are, if that makes sense. So if you just look where the 6 are, 1 double crochet into 2, increase in those top 2, and then 1 single crochet, and then the rest of the stitches 1 single crochet each. So into this next stitch, I am going to do an increase, and then the next stitch will also be an increase. So I'm going to insert the hook the same way I did here when I do the increases. So I'm going to find the 2 stitches of the pink one, and then the 2 stitches of the purple, and insert my hook through all 4, yarn over and do a single crochet, and then do a second single crochet into that same stitch for the increase. And then the next stitch will also be an increase stitch. So I'll insert my hook underneath all 4 loops and do 2 single crochets into that stitch. So the 2 stitches at the top, you do an increase. And then the last 12 stitches, just 1 single crochet each, working through all 4 loops, 2 of the pink and 2 of the purple for every single stitch. So that's going to be 1 single crochet in these last 12 stitches to connect the ears together. And now that completes the ear, and then you just repeat that for the second ear. So you work these 2 together the same way that I just did this. So when you're done with this round, where you connect the 2 pieces together for the ear, you should have 28 stitches, because we had 12 here, and 12 on this side, so that's the 24, and then we increased twice, so you should have 28 stitches after you finish this round. And just to let you know, when you work this round, you don't want to work it too tightly because then it might curl in like this if you work it too tight, unless that's what you want to do. That can look good too. So either way, but if that happens, then you could just go up one size on your crochet hook to work this last round if you want to. And then another thing to note is, since everyone's tension is different, if you find that when you're working this top one, if it's curling in too much, if you have a very tight tension, then you may want to add another increase in, the stitches before and after. That's a possibility too, just depending on your tension. I just want to make a note of that because everyone crochets differently. So if you find it's curling in too much for you, then you can just add some more increases if needed. And that completes the round to connect the two pieces together. Okay, and then along the bottom here, so after you finish your 12 stitches here, along the bottom here, you just want to work 3 stitches. So if you look at it, you can work a stitch here, one in the middle, and one here. So I'll show you what I mean on the bottom edge here. I'm just going to go ahead and do a stitch here at the bottom, and then one right in the middle here, and then another one here, and then I'll slip stitch into that first one when I started, and then all I need to do is fasten off now. And I want to leave a good sized tail, that way I can sew this ear onto the bunny's head, because this is the tail we're going to use to sew it on. Okay, and then I'll yarn over with that and pull it through that loop to fasten off. So I want to leave this one on, and then this shorter one, and then this tail, the short one, I can go ahead and weave that in. Now I wove in that shorter tail, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it. And then I'm going to leave this one because I'm going to use this one to sew on the bunny's ear. So then you just repeat the same process for the other ear. And I already have one done, so now I have my 2 ears for my bunny. So now I have the ears completed, and then I have the legs and body done with the little bunny tail. And I have my head for my bunny and the 2 arms. And then I will show you how to put everything together in the next video.